Okay, so we are going to begin with our lesson for tonight, and I am super excited to teach this lesson because what we're looking at is how to write from the moments that you have in your life. So I've entitled the lesson From Moments to Meaning, How Everyday Memories Become Powerful Stories. How Everyday Memories Become Powerful Stories. And
Okay.
I'm actually going to read a story that I wrote from memory, from
Okay.
one of my memories, and it's in this Celebration Book
Yes,
magazine. This,
I saw that. Yeah, I get that.
okay,
Yeah, I
okay,
was like,
sweet,
wow.
sweet. So that was, I titled the article From Training Wheels to Treasured Memories. And I'm
Oh,
going to read it to you, and then I'm going to teach a lesson on
okay.
how to take a memory and turn it into a powerful lesson. And this is for each of you that are watching the recording as well. So, from training wheels to treasured memories. When I reflect on my childhood memories of Christmas, I immediately think of that cold, crisp Christmas morning when my sister and I woke in the wee hours of the morning and ran to the living room to find shiny new bicycles with a big red bow on them. My wish had come true. The bicycle was exactly like the picture I had seen in the Sears and Roebuck catalog. Now, some of you are going to be too young to know
To
anything
know
about
about that.
the Sears and Roebuck catalog, but here's a picture of it
Oh,
right
yes.
there. That was how the cat, and it was a thick catalog. We would get it and go through it and find the toys that we wanted. So let me get back to the article. Um, the Sears and Roebuck catalog. I looked at the picture every day and daydreamed of riding it up and down my neighborhood street. Finally, I shouted with confidence, "This bike is going to be mine." So I grabbed the scissors and carefully cut the bicycle off the page. To take the guesswork out of what I wanted for Christmas, the picture of my bike strategically I placed on the refrigerator where my parents and I could see it every single day. Whenever we were all in the kitchen together, I would watch their faces to see if they were glancing at the picture. Was I scheming or just being clever? I was helping them out, right? Well, it worked. There it was, from the page of the catalog to standing beside our beautifully decorated Christmas tree. It was even prettier than the picture. My new bike was pink with a white wicker basket, beautifully decorated with daisies and hanging on the front to hold whatever I wanted to place inside of it. Colorful long plastic ribbons hung from the bicycle handlebars. On each side of the tires were training wheels, but they wouldn't be there for long. I was a fast learner, so in no time, the training wheels would be removed. I'll never forget how my face lit up as I rushed to put on my coat, hat, and gloves to try mine out. With much excitement, I was grinning from ear to ear. I can still see the look on my parents' face. Let me let someone in here. Okay. I can still see the look on my parents' faces, the quiet joy of knowing that they had given me something that brought such happiness. To my surprise and delight, several neighborhood kids had received bikes too, and soon the street was alive with jingles of laughter from children pedaling up and down, showing off our new bikes. Oh, what fun! My sister and I rode until we were called in to wash up for Christmas dinner. Fast forward many years, the scene has changed, but the spirit of Christmas was the same. I was now 60, visiting my parents who were now in their 80s. Our tradition was that on Christmas Eve, my mom and I cooked most of the meal in advance. But this time, I volunteered to prepare the majority of the food. Excuse
God
me.
bless you. God bless you.
Thank you. So I encouraged her to sit in the kitchen to chat with me. She had taught me how to cook her world famous cornbread dressing.
Mm.
Soon the aroma filled the house, and my dad joined us in the kitchen. He asked, "Do you need a test taster?" My mom and I smiled. We knew that was his way of saying, "I'm here to sample all the fixings." Soon we were all smiling and sampling the fixings together. On Christmas morning, my dad to woke early to watch the parades on TV. I joined him in the den, and together we eagerly watched the parades as always. Daddy
Praise
had
him.
always been a kid at heart. We flipped the three channels. Notice I said three channels
Yes.
to catch as many different parades as possible. My dad loved the large floats, and I loved the marching bands playing all the popular holiday songs. After watching the parades, I had the joy of watching them unwrap the gifts my family and I had brought. The sparkle in their eyes, the laughter that filled the room, took me back to the day when I was 6. Only this time the roles were reversed. I was the one smiling with quiet joy and a warm heart, and ever so grateful for the opportunity to be a blessing to the people who had given me so much. From bicycles to parades, from childhood excitement to the gift of giving, Christmas has a way of reminding us that joy is timeless. The details may change, but the heart of the season, sharing love, laughter, and memories, remain the same. So I wanted to share that because that's an example of me taking a childhood memory and
Right.
turning it into a powerful story that appeared in the Christmas
Yes.
magazine, the December magazine. So, what I want to teach each of you from this is that you can start with a single memory. You can start with a single memory, and I'll send a handout. You can take notes if you want, but I will send out a PDF with all the notes on it for you. You'll learn how to use sensory details to bring that story alive.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and then you'll connect past moments to present meaning. And then end your story with takeaways that matter. So all of those four strategies were shown in the story that I just read to you that I wrote for the magazine. So let's let Miss Michelle Grimes in. Let's look at the key teaching point that I want you to walk away with tonight is that you don't need a dramatic life story to write something meaningful. You just need a moment and the courage to reflect on it. The story that I just read to you began with a memory, my bike, my first bicycle. And then from there, a Christmas morning. And then a family tradition. My dad and I watching the parades. Um, and what made it powerful is not the event, but it was the meaning drawn from it.
Yeah.
So that's what we look at when we are turning our meaningful moments into a powerful story. Your story does not have to impress. It just has to be honest,
Yeah.
specific, and
Hmm.
reflective.
Yes.
Just each of those. So my story opened with a vivid
Mm.
childhood Christmas morning and the bike from the Sears catalog. Michelle, you weren't on here when I showed the Sears catalog, and I said that a lot of those who are watching the replay probably don't remember this, but those of us that are in a certain age group, we remember it because that was part of what we looked at. And I see Michelle. And so, yes, what we another teaching point that I want you to walk away with is that strong stories don't start with an explanation. They
Okay.
start with a scene.
I've
So if
seen.
you remember when I started reading what I had written, I started with a scene, not with an explanation. And so you can choose one snapshot, which is a memory. Thinking of something that, and since we're Christmas is right around the corner, that's why I chose to read that particular story and to talk about Christmas. So
Yes.
you can choose a snapshot of one of your most memorable Christmases, or you can choose from another holiday or any ordinary day. Um, the next is place your reader in a specific time and place. In my story, I brought you into my childhood home, and then
Yes.
I took you to the streets where all of the kids that got bicycles that Christmas, we were out riding. So I brought you somewhere. And
Yes.
that's what you want to do with your reader. You want to bring your reader into a specific time and a place. And for me, that was the time I was 6 years old, and
Hmm.
again brought you into my childhood home, and then took you on the street with the bicycle. And then what you do is you let the memories unfold naturally.
Okay.
Let the memories unfold naturally. As you're sitting there and you're reflecting, then you just think back to what was going on uh, for your memory as well. So you might have, as I was reading, you might have thought about your first bicycle, the first time that you got a bicycle. But again, my story might take you to a certain area in your own story. And so you start by breaking it down. Where am I? I told you where I was. How old am I? I told you I was 6 years old. And what is happening right now? What was happening in my story? I gave you each of those, the
Hmm.
details for each of
Right.
those. And
Especially
so,
one, especially the one where you decided to put the picture, you cut it out the magazine, put it on the refrigerator, and watch the expression of your parents to see if they were really paying it any attention because you really wanted that bicycle.
I love that. And see, Melissa, you're my reader. And so you are reflecting and remembering what I read
Yeah.
and how that caught your attention. And that's what our stories do for our readers.
Yeah. It's caught my
It
attention.
it draws them in, catches their
Yes.
attention,
Hmm.
and it becomes memorable
Yes,
because
it
you
does. It
remembered
does.
exactly what I
Oh,
had read that I did. And so um, when we look at the sensory in the story, If you remember, I had a pink bike.
Oh, yes.
There was a
Basket.
white wicker basket, daisies, plastic ribbons. Do y'all remember those
Yeah.
plastic ribbons that used
Oh,
to
yes.
hang out
Hang
of
down
the
from
bars?
yeah.
Yeah. I said it was a cold morning air because I had to go get my coat and my hat and gloves on before going out to ride the bike. So for those of you who are just joining, I started by reading an article that I wrote for the celebration. This is their December issue, and this is my article that is in the magazine, and it's a free magazine. If you want to subscribe to it, you can go to, I think it's celebrationmagazine.com or celebration.com. They send them out digitally as well as, oh, here it is. Okay, I gave you the wrong one. No, that's their travel. It is. It's celebrationmagazine.com. So that was correct. Celebrationmagazine.com. And you can, and the beauty of this magazine, for those of us who are 60 and above, that's what the magazine articles are geared toward. And for those of you, again, who will watch the replay of this, once you all come over into the Authors Academy, I will teach how to get magazines to post your stories. I'll help to 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 find out from you what magazines that you're interested in becoming a writer for, and then we will work on how to get you into that. So um, let me get back to our lesson points, our teaching points as well. So we were looking at the sensory, and what we want to do is the details that make the memories believable and relatable. So when I talked about the bicycle and the handlebars with the ribbons hanging out, you all automatically went, yep, we remember that because that's how our childhood bicycles were back then.
Mm-hmm.
And so you show what you saw, heard, smelled, or touched. Do you remember when we were in the kitchen, my mom and I cooking the Christmas meal,
Yeah.
and we were cooking the dressing, and the aroma went through the house, and my dad came in and wanted to be a taste tester. So you probably reflected back to the aroma in your own house during the times that you're cooking. And so that's what you do when we say show don't tell in your writing, that's showing. Um,
Okay.
you saw the bike, you smell the aroma of whatever the meals, the dishes were that were being cooked. And then you let the objects carry emotions. Um, as I talked about my parents, uh, me smiling from ear to ear for the bikes. And then as the tables turned, as they got older, and I was now in my 60s, how they were the ones smiling from ear to ear when they
Mhm.
were opening up their gifts. And so the tables did turn. You don't need to have poetic language. You notice I didn't. I just told the story. You just
Mhm.
be precise. You just
Okay.
be precise. And what as we close the lesson tonight, what I want to look at is how the time jumps at depth, meaning I moved from my childhood to age 60, from visiting my parents in their 80s. So I started you all out with me at 6 years old, but I ended the story with me 60 and my parents in their 80s. And so I took you on a time jump into depth. And reflection is what turns a memory into a story. I want y'all to remember that.
Okay.
Reflection is
Reflection.
what turns memory into a story. I'm going to say it one more time. Reflections are what turn memories into a story. And I'm going to say a powerful story at that. So, what you're walking away with tonight is you can revisit the same theme at a different age. Growth shows up through contrast. And again, I'm
Mhm.
going to send these notes out to you guys. You don't have to explain everything in your story. You just let the shift speak. You let it speak for itself. A strong ending answers, why does this matter? A strong ending. And you always want to start your story strong and you always want to end it strong because you want your reader to start with you and you want them to finish with you. You don't want them to start and read a few sentences and close the book. You want to start strong and you want to finish strong. So your takeaways, you don't preach to them. It should feel earned through the story.
Mhm.
Meaning comes from connection, not perfection. So throughout my story, there were connections. You were able to connect somewhere. Even if when I said three channels back then, we only
Yeah.
had what, ABC, NBC,
Yeah.
there's
I think it
one,
was just
CBS.
CBS. That was it.
There were only three channels on our TVs back then. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's a connection for those of you that grew up in the era that I grew up in with only three channels on the TV. So many kids this day would can't even imagine only having three.
Mm-hmm.
They go from 300. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, So, what you want to ask yourself when you're writing is, what did this moment teach me? The moment that you're writing about, what did it teach you? How did it shape who you are now? How did that moment shape who you are today? And I've already been talking about this. Why might someone else relate? These are three questions that you want to ask when you are writing your stories. And again, I will be sending these out to you. So I just proved something by reading my story that you have stories already that you have, that you've lived, that you've experienced that are worth telling. The work now is learning how to slow down, how to notice, and how to reflect. And what I want to encourage you all to do is at the end of every evening, sit down and write one thing that happened today that might be a story later on. It didn't have to be anything really big, but something memorable that happened to you today that later on might become a story. And you don't have to write the whole story. What I do is I will write a sentence that will remind me of what happened so that when I'm needing to write a story, I go back and get this notebook and flip through it, and I can find one of these moments and write about it. And what this, how you benefit from this is that, say that a magazine calls and they want you to write a story. Instead of you sitting and trying to figure out, okay, what in the world am I going to write about? You pick up that notebook and you start looking at the different moments that you've written down.
Okay.
And I guarantee you, at least one, if not many, will jump out at you and you'll have choices. So, what you're doing is you are preparing for future opportunities.
Yeah, okay.
You don't want to wait for those opportunities. You already want to be prepared for when they come. Any questions about what I've shared tonight? And for those of you that jumped on late, I am recording. I will send this out again because I started by reading the story that I had written in the magazine and then teaching from the story on the different strategies and steps. So if there are no questions, I am going to stop the recording.